The King of Heroes, Gilgamesh, was doom posted a lot, and as you all know, he is finally out, and I am excited, probably more than anyone else, that he's actually here, because if you guys do not know, he is my favorite Fate character, just period. It's him or Charlemagne, but point is, he's finally out in Star Rail, and he was doom posted so much, and he's still being doom posted, and I just think that a lot of people don't really know just how good he actually is, because even at E0 S0, he is giving your team at least 20% attack, at least 20% crit damage, as well as extra crit damage and attack depending on the team's max energy. So it just goes to show that as long as you have a high max energy, he's gonna be buffing your team up a lot. And yes, he's best in certain teams, but how does that change from every other team in this game? Like, you don't want to use Phynon without Saridra, but you can use Phynon without Saridra. You don't need Saridra. Gilgamesh is very much the same way. You can use him with the boatload of teams, but that doesn't mean he's optimal for all of them. But the fact that you can even do it is amazing, because as I know a lot of you people just really hate, like, Elation is, it's been very controversial, honestly, because a lot of people don't like the fact that you can't use any of the Elation supports or Elation teammates outside of Elation. And I understand that it's annoying, but the team is so synergistic that it just doesn't work if you take any of the teammates outside of Elation. Gilgamesh is the complete opposite, where you can put him, as long as the team is attack scaling, he's going to be a very good option. Maybe he's not the most optimal option, but he's honestly a little more in line with Mortnag's Blade than a lot of people want to admit, because yes, he's slightly more restrictive because Mortnag's Blade is a debuffer. He just puts debuffs on the enemies and then buffs the team a little bit, and that's all he does. Whereas Gilgamesh is purely a buffer, and he provides attack, which, if you're not running an attack scaler, he's not really going to be as effective, but you can absolutely use him. Mind you, this is before we bring in his light cone or his Eidolons, because if we count his light cone, he buffs allies crit damage by 24% on top of whatever else he's doing. So if you happen to have a teammate that can max out his buffs, so he gives up to 120% attack, 120% crit damage depending on your max energy, he can give them an extra 24% on top of that. Mind you, this is mainly for Saber, but the fact that it's not limited to Saber is insane. Like, Herda is another character that I've thought about using him with. I don't know if he's optimal per se, because I haven't really ran the team that much, and there's still some stuff to figure out. But I've had the idea, and it just seems very interesting, because you can use him very well with Herda on paper, of course, because he gives her most of his attack and crit damage support, and then he also gives her a little bit more crit damage with his cone. Now, if we add Eidolons into the situation, all you need is one cost, and all of a sudden, the entire team is ignoring roundabout a third of the enemy's defense, because, as you guys probably know, if you don't, defense reduction, whether it be defense down, defense ignoring, stuff like that, it maxes out at 100%. So the fact that he gives the entire freaking team 30% defense ignore on his E1 is really freaking insane. And it's not like this is only usable with attack characters. You could use it with any of the other archetypes, and it'll do you pretty well. As long as you're not overcapping on defense ignore or defense reduction already, he's going to see a lot of use. Like, he really will. Much like a lot of characters in this game, Gilgamesh is one of the few where if you invest in him a lot, he will work a lot harder for you in return. Even if you just give him his E1, he is giving you so much to the team. And even though his E2 is mainly for himself as a main DPS or just sub DPS, whatever, it's mainly a selfish Eidolon. It still helps out the team because he just does a lot more damage, and it's a damage Eidolon. I mean, it's very good. I mean, his E4, whatever, it's energy regeneration's fine, but we go to E6, right? Okay, yes, again, but he's dealing a lot more damage with the Numa Ailish. And then he has his golden rule where if you pop 3 ally ultimates before his, you'll get 300% more crit damage. But on top of all that, he will give the team 20% all-type res spend, and it's just, yes, it's E6, that's a lot of investment, but consider for a second that if you're like me and you're gonna do this anyway, because you like the character, he's not only giving attack and crit damage support, but now he's giving defense ignore to the entire team, plus all-type res spend to the entire team. I understand that's a lot of investment, and a lot of you guys don't really want to do that, but to be honest, if you're a free-to-play person and you're complaining about him being too weak or whatever, I gotta wonder how many teams you're investing in, because let's be honest, you as a free-to-play need to be working on 3 teams and 3 teams only. I understand if you enjoy the more characters in that. I am very much in the same case where I love so many characters in this game that I want to use as many teams as possible, but if you want to be successful in endgame, and that is a lot of people's goal, right? You want to get all the Jades, all the Anomaly Arbitration clears. You're going to have to invest in your characters at least a little bit. So having, I mean, yeah, maybe 1 E6 is a slight waste because you're putting a lot of cost otherwise into other stuff that you don't need to be doing. But let's just say for a second that you did do this. Now you have that Gilgamesh to use on every single one of your teams. Maybe he's not optimal, but you could still use him. And if you don't want him as a support, you run him as a main DPS. He kind of does it all, and it's just kind of funny how people have continuously doomposted him. Just to prove my point a little further, let's go to the databank, and we're going to go through every single character that he can buff even like remotely well, okay? No, I'm not sure the interaction with Finon and being in Kazlana state. I'm not sure if that defense ignore is just permanent, or if Gil has to go into his skill first and then Finon. I don't know. I'm not a Finon main, so I'm not sure how the interaction works there. But theoretically, you could. Saber 100%. I mean, obviously, right? Now you could use him with Archer. It's not super optimal because you want Sparkle most of the time, but if you somehow don't have Sparkle, you could use him. Only negative is you're not really getting skill points with him, but you know, to be fair, Sparkle most of the time you're never using a basic anyway. She's pretty much just SP neutral. So you could absolutely use him with Archer. You could. Obviously, Ash, Phil, and Morton X-Blade are 2 of his best options. That's like one of the main teams you want to use him with if he's a main DPS, so obviously those 2. Like I said before, Madame Herta is a very interesting option you could use him with. I don't know how good they are together because you want her to be spamming skill every 2 seconds, so maybe won't be as optimal, but she is an option. You could fight success. You could use him with an Axa 2, not super optimal, but you could. Maybe using him with Rin, so Stainless is also an interesting option. I mean, Himeko, she does scale off of attack, you could. I'm not sure how optimal it would be though because of her restrictions to her team, but you could. Honestly, it doesn't work that well with Dot, but I mean, no one outside of the trio of Dot works with Dot, to be honest with you, so it's kind of hard to recommend a lot of characters. And then for Remembrance, the only good idea here would be Aglaia because she's the only attack scaler, plus she has a high energy cost, so they actually might be a really good combo together. And it's just another thing. Every fast-acting character that attacks a lot or just acts a lot in general is going to be a good option for him. And then Elation, honestly, not that good because, like I said, it's very exclusive. You can't really not have any of the premium options. It's kind of a problem. But Evanesha is an energy scaler, and she has multiple stacks of her ult. So, even with that list, like, that's a lot of characters that you could just find use for. Maybe he's not optimal, but the fact that you can even use him like this in the first place is actually really, really good because I hate to compare him to Morton X-Blade again, but the 2 of them do fit on a lot of teams. They do. Maybe Blade fits a little better because he does debuffs and then he just does a flat damage percent, but damage percent is so oversaturated in this game that it's not hard to find. It's way harder to find crit support or attack support, honestly. I do think a lot of this rose from the idea that running any character outside of their optimal team is a bad idea, and yes, theoretically that might be the case. That there's nothing in the game that stops you from just running a different team, you know? Like maybe, now call me crazy, you might want to try some different teams. Just running everything optimally is not super duper fun. I get that this game's meta can be a little bit harsh, but it really depends on your goals. if your goal is to just get all of the jades, I mean, it's honestly not that difficult. You could clear this game pretty easily just having investments. It's not that hard. Getting an Eidolon here, an Eidolon there, and yeah, I guess a lot of this is game knowledge and a lot of people just don't care to know, but at a certain point, you gotta take a little bit of accountability for yourself because it's your account, and if you can't clear and it's not the relic's fault, then whose fault is it, you know? I'm starting to realize that a lot of people in this community are just very, very... what's the word? I don't want to use whiny, but that fits perfectly, to be honest, so maybe we'll just roll with that. I mean, I hate to I hate to rag on people, but let's be real, like, this character's not that bad. He's really not. Especially if you spent the 200 pulls to get his light cone, he's even better. Even with just Aeon, he's still really, really good. I was testing him earlier this week with a lot of different game modes, and he was doing pretty well, even with just Aeon, because I didn't have his light cone until literally earlier today when I'm recording this, so... he seems fine to me. He was hitting for around about 300k to 400k per skill. Like, it's not that bad, man. He was not doing too bad. Mind you, this is pre-E1. This is just baseline E0, S0. Now, I did also try him with Finon's Cone, and that is a very good option for him if you... Let me just mention that. Finon Cone is a very good option for him if you happen to not have his own cone or don't want to pull for it right now, whatever. It's like slightly better than Aeon, but not that much better. But it's still pretty freaking good. Anyway, back to my point. He's very good. I think I'm a little disappointed with how he came out, like, overall. Like, yes, he got a lot of nerfs during his beta, which, I'm gonna try not to talk about the beta too much more, but it just, for, just to talk a little more. Yes, he got nerfed a lot. I hate that he lost his energy overcap. I hate that he lost his action advance. I hate that he doesn't action advance Saber after the joint attack. Honestly, the thing I hate running with him and Saber is after Saber ults, she gets her enhanced basic attack, and she can't action advance herself until after she uses it. I don't know why that was the thing that they decided to do, because it makes the team feel so much fucking worse. It just does. Because now you have to wait for Saber's slow ass. I mean, yeah, maybe I could speed tune her more than the 109 speed that she's at right now. But I'm still waiting. I'm waiting a long time for her to do that enhanced basic. Yes, I guess they could be running an action advance like Sunday or whatever, but Saber, Gilgamesh, Mornax, Blade, and Ho-Ho is a very, very good team, and let's not act like it's not. But I hate that enhanced basic attack, because why can she not action advance? It's so stupid. That's my one gripe with Saber now. It's the fact that I feel like I have to run an action advancer with her, because if I don't, I gotta wait freaking 3 business days for her to be... Oh yeah, I need to use my enhanced basic. Now I can action advance myself. I don't know why that was a feature. She just should have been able to do it if she has enough course resonance, but for some reason, only when she can use her skill. Don't understand that, but that's what they did. Anyway, it's a little short, maybe not. I don't know if I want to say the word rant, because I'm not really mad, but just a little discussion for us today. And yeah, I know I have been AFK for a little bit, but I'm trying to figure out some new methods for content that you guys will probably see very soon. I won't make any promises for when they come out, but they'll come out, and then you guys let me know what you think. And until that day, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do comment, sub, all the algorithm stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. Laters.